I'm glad. I guess I'm glad. I hope you'll be glad. We covered a lot of territory in the first part. Whether you agreed or disagreed, how many of these found it of interest? May I see your hand or get applause or whatever? We're just beginning. And they always say if there's a beginning, then there should be an end. And sometimes there's an end to the beginning, but it doesn't mean it's the end of everything. And so it is where we're now on our planet at this time. Again, as I understand through the study of metaphysics, right or wrong, that our planet is going from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. It's like going from kindergarten into graduate school. It's only because the people that are supposed to be on this planet to fulfill missions, to get things straight, who have reincarnated or come once again into the flesh or meat, and for whatever reason, they're here. And they're here because they're supposed to be here. But there are many interlopers, those who are not supposed to be here, that have set up this planet to be like a prison colony, and that have misused the races of man and the races of all creatures, and have even made what they call mankind and human. Mankind and human are not the same as man. We've been taught that they were. Many of the brothers and sisters say, well, human is black man because a hue is from colors. That's not the way the hue they meant. This was H-hue from the god Hubris, who made the animal kingdom and brought them to earth. That also is ancient legend and ancient story. Human is cross man, or man that has been mated with an animal. And in Dulce, New Mexico, at a place called Dulce. Dulce in Spanish and Latin means sweet. You don't want to go there for anything sweet. There's nothing sweet about Dulce, New Mexico. It is horror hell on earth. It is where this government and aliens are making people, crossing people, making things, and they live there. It goes 13 floors underneath as far as I know, and who knows how far it really goes. There are many places like that. Pine Gap, Plum Island, all these places are where you have interfacing with evil aliens, evil because they don't respect you. In fact, they look upon you as cannon fodder and hybrid things. But all of them realize that those of you who have souls, if you ever wake up, they be in deep trouble. So therefore, they will go along with anything that keeps you dumbed down, comatose, brainwashed, inoculated, vaccinated, and encrypted, any two of which makes you useless for a spiritual society and the coming new earth. Did you hear me? Bet you think I can't say that again? How many think I can say it again? How many think I can't say it again? Dumbed down, comatose, brainwashed, inoculated, vaccinated, encrypted, any two of which makes you useless to a spiritual society or an ascending planet. It's that simple. If you got any of those two things, you're useless right now and are holding back the earth. Get yourself straight, the earth can get herself straight because you're needed. You are mitochondria. You are clean and dirty mitochondria. Okay, so what's mitochondria there? The same thing that's in your cells. Little food vectors, little energies of matter that make up a cell. And the earth is our cell in the mind and body of the universal prime creator. You are little bits of organic material making this planet what it is. Collectively, you can do wonders, good or bad. You haven't learned what is called concentrated thought yet. And think that you're helpless, the most powerful beings, inner being that ever existed, going wayward and being misused. They're making you cancer cells.
That's right.
And when you do the wrong thing, you are one of those little mitochondria that is now making this cell Earth cancers. That's why you got to go. Put up with it long enough. If you make yourself cancerous, that's bad enough, because now you can cavitate your lovers and friends. But when you make the planet cancerous, you now got to go. The free radicals are coming to get rid of the free radicals. The leukocytes are coming to get rid of those of you who are not vibrating correctly. Everybody in here always makes a big statement to themselves. Ooh, I should have followed my first mind.
That's right.
Oh, I should have done that. I know I should have done that. Oh, my first mind. That's what they call the sixth sense.
That's right.
from the sixth heaven, leading to the seventh heaven, which allows you to be free of any sun. Once you begin to understand what you are, who you are, and why you are, you know why now you have got to get it straight, because this is your last opportunity to stay with the planet, which is going to become heaven, and then you can have your heaven on earth. Many of you have arguments, but the first argument starts when you have an argument with yourself. When you begin to change or not change, do or not do, think or not think, and you start arguing with yourself, and your body, your mind always reflects what you think of yourself, because it's written all over your body, all over your mind, all over your face, all over everything. You are what you eat, drink, and think.
That's right.
Nobody makes you eat it unless you're under siege or in prison. Then yes. Other than that, we have three choices. Nobody makes you drink things other than water, and nobody makes you drink the bad water. Because you say, I don't have the money to buy the good money, to buy the good water. What if you bought a pint of wine? You bought a beer, 7 cap, you bought some Coke, hamburger, cheese, French fry, Coke. Then you had enough to get the good water. You chose not to.
That's right.
We have enough money to do what we want to if we want to bad enough, because if we want to bad enough, we'll get the money.
That's right.
That shows you what desire can do.
Yes.
There's one thing called desire. There's another thing called will. And I have a whole week in session, which I say again, Miss Desire meet Mr. Will Power. And most of the two do not couple up well together.
That's right.
The female and the male. You are whatever you want to be in your mind, but you forgot how strong your mind can be. And they take every opportunity they can, they be in the Dracons, the hidden government, I don't know what to call it again, to stop you from getting your mind and make you lose your mind.
That's right.
And when you lose your mind, you're theirs.
That's right.
When you gain consciousness, you are now no longer afraid of them. They fear you. And they still don't understand how they can keep 5.5 billion, 6.5 billion people under wraps.
Right.
Because they always say, if I do this, they might wake up. But they push them and they never wake up. Well, now they say, well, we do anything. They'll never wake up. Then we wake up, we call on somebody else to help us. Here you are, an advanced soul, straight from the Creator. Every night you go back and visit. And then you wake up the next morning and say, I'm helpless. What do you think you were all night? Did you ever stop to think, when you go to sleep, where do you go? The psychiatrists aren't going to tell you because they're already crazy. That's why they're psychiatrists. Look at Freud, what he said. Look at Carl Jung, what he said. Freud said, never wake them up. And everything you do because you didn't have sex with your mama and you're crazy. And that's pretty kind of close to be a realistic policy. Jung said old souls always wake up, and the nefarious part of being not awoken is to die because you don't know who you are. Every time you go to sleep, you go to heaven or hell, depending on what you created for yourself. The souls are here to learn. The reason why you have to go to sleep is because you're not getting enough life sustenance, and your body is so dirty that if you don't sleep, the poison all will kill you. So it's a time for you to clean up the body. You know, you wake up with a bad spread, you've got a bad taste. That means you have a lot of poisons being digested during that time. And the soul must come out of the body in order to get resuscitated. When it's coming back into the body, sometimes you wake up just before you get back into the body, and you wake up and see the horror of hell, and you see the old hag, and you see a monster in the corner, or you wake up and you can't scream, and you're trying to move, and you don't know what's happening. It's because you didn't see back in your body. You are out of it. And until you make the wiring connection with the central nervous system, you can't speak. And you woke up just ahead of time. Too hot outside, too cold outside. Sometimes you wake up just ahead of time. Sometimes another sound in the room outside, seems like a big gun to you or something, will wake you up just before you see in. Once you wake up like that, you simply say, oh, I've been asleep, I gotta go back. And boom, you'll be back in the body, things are cool. But you see, the heavens are built like a pyramid, a level. We live on the bottom of an ocean. We are the crustacea. We are the shellfish. We are the shrimp. You see what they're doing to the shrimp? They go. We got a hard shell finish.
Crabs.
And before you come back into that body, sometimes you wake up on what they call the first heaven, which is hell. And before you get back into the body, you experience all these things that want to be physical, but are not. They want to grab you. They'll reach out for you. And that's why if you go to sleep drunk, messed up, and unconscious, you're actually giving yourself over to them. It's just like you took a Carmendia, the biggest Maserati that you could, drove it into the worst side of town at night, got out the car and left the keys in the ignition and the window open. You'd have said, take me. Oh, just take me, drive me anywhere you want to. That's what you do when you go to sleep without understanding what you are and why you are. That's why they told you in the Bible, which was taken from many other books, and so, the Lord's Prayer. Whatever it is to the Lord, you should do for yourself because you are the Lord. You are lords of the kingdom. You were given dominion over 75,000 trillion cells in your body, and you're not even taking care of them. Yet you want to know what's in the universe. You are masters of your body, but you never master it. You're looking for somebody else to take care of you, and you're born into the body. They grew up all around you. You grew those cells. Every 7 years, you can change it good or bad.
That's right.
That's what they call the 7th year.
That's right.
The 7th heaven. But if you don't do it, it's going to go its own way. Because you're supposed, if you can't control yourself, forget about controlling anything else. You start with self.
Right.
Before you criticize somebody else, look at yourself. Before you do something to somebody else, think that every time I do this while I'm on earth, I'm just doing it to myself down the line anyway. People don't remember that, and people do forget that. Where we are now is that our planet is speeding up in its vibrational rate. They have what they call resonancy, not residency, resonancy, frequency, and vibration. All those are 3 different things. You can change your vibration by changing the energy in your blood and the thoughts in your brain.
That's right.
Because the brain is to the physical body as the mind is to the spiritual body, and until you control the unseen, you can never do anything to the seen. The unseen always controls the physical. It starts with how you think.
That's right.
And then physically you act out what you think. And you get in return whatever it was that you threw out in your mind first. Don't blame anybody else but yourself for whatever comes to you, good or bad.
That's right.
Because the universe has natural laws. If you don't follow them, then you're going to follow the dictates of man and mankind, and you're going to be in deeper trouble than you are already. Forget the laws they give, they're not universal. Remember the laws inside you, which you already know, and if you look for help, look to your own soul and find out, what can I do to help myself before I ask somebody else to help me? What have I done to somebody else that may mess me up in karmic form, therefore I lose my dharma? Huh? How many ever heard of karma? How many ever heard of dharma? Why do they push karma before they push dharma, which is from the same book? The Upanishads, part of the Vedas, part of the Hindu, Indian belief.
That's right. That's right.
Karma meant what is done in the flesh that you must now pay for. Karma will bring you back here when they're coming back into the flesh or reincarnating. Once again, re-entering the meat body, karma. At the same book that taught you that, they didn't bring out the good thing, that karma is once understood in the mind. You don't have to do it in the physical, but one more time to prove that what you said you could do in the mind, when put down here, you would do it again.
That's right.
Or wouldn't do it again. I make a statement, it upsets some people. Get ready to get upset. I used to be very much into hypnosis. I no longer practice it. I was never a licensed hypnotist. But I am a doctor, and I work under what they call people who had licenses to hypnotherapists. But it always came easy to me. I guess I did it in another lifetime. I don't know. And I would hypnotize people, and as I've mentioned to people many times, white people usually first because of this. My first 2 years of practicing metaphysics, black people wouldn't have anything to do with me. They ran, oh, the metaphysics. Oh my God. Oh Lord, preacher, help that man. He went to a cult. A cult, by the way, means what? Hidden. Everything on this planet, everything is a cult. Everything is hidden, that's why you don't know. That's why you're not learning.
Right.
Don't get mad at me, I'm a teacher, but I'm not a preacher. And I'm preaching right now because many of you didn't understand that. So, the first people to support me were white people.
That's right.
They came to learn and say, hey, this Negro has something to say. This colored man is a dialectic. He's not only colored, he's talking white race too. So they all supported me when my people ran for me. I'll never forget that. So when you get down on white people, and some people need to be got down on, white, black, yellow, and green, and then some people don't need to be. So my first hypnotic subjects were white. And I found a strange thing. As I was practicing this, they started coming up something with regression. I didn't know anything about regression. I knew what hypnosis was. But they said, can you regress? I'm saying, well, I regressed one time and my clothes are all right. They said, no, I didn't need that. Can you regress somebody? And I'm saying, what is this? So I learned regression, and like all things, it came pretty easy to me, which lets me know I must be a very old soul. But then I found out that when they would jump lifetimes, and I jumped with them, and I had to take notes at first, and I almost lost one person. So then I said, I got to really stay up at this. So this is one reason I got out of it. But when a person would regress, they go into other lifetimes. And the first thing I want to know, well, what do you look like? If I asked a person that one time, I asked them as though I hadn't said it. I'm asking what they look like. They're talking about, oh, and I see such a person. And I see a temple over there. Oh, and I see a street over there. I said, what do you look like? And oh, and the sun's in the sky. Right. What do you look like? It's like I wasn't answering. So I said, well, I started doing hypnosis on black people. Same thing. They jump on me. When I say jump, I don't mean on me. They go into another lifetime. I had to keep up with lifetimes they were in by the certain. I used to tag them with smells or something like this. So you smell this, you come back here. I learned a lot of those tricks. I'm good hypnotist. So I don't do it now, so don't even ask me. No. I'm not any more karma for me. Anyway, so I go there, and I have a black person this time. And I say, okay, where are you? They tell me. I say, what do you look like? Oh, there's a doggy over there. And there's Uncle Fred. I said, what do you look like? And there's that barn. Oh, that's that big skyscraper. I said, just like I had an answer. And I kept insisting, and when I insisted enough to show you how trying it was to them, they say, oh, I'm white, I got a light body, or something like this. Oh, I'm black, I got a black body. Here's the catch. It was black people telling me they were a white body, and it was white people telling me they were in black bodies, and I like to blew my mind. It took me a year, it took me 13 months with my accredited self to understand on this planet we have all been white and we've all been black if we needed the experience. And now the very people we're hating were the people we were in many cases, because that's the karma they go at you. Did you just hear me? Think about that, because it still blows my mind with my prejudiced self, and I try not to be. On this planet, on the physical plane, whatever you hate or love, you are drawn to you, and it is drawn to you and for you. This is how we learn.
That's right.
Now, when I tell you that, you're going to say, for your own sake of saying sane, I hope he's wrong. I hope I'm wrong too, for your sake. Because if not, then racism is a prejudiced, stupid thing that we practice on this planet to get souls divided, because the serpent people wanted it that way, so we wouldn't unite and get rid of all of this. There are some good-thinking white people out there. There are some good-thinking yellow people out there. There are some good-thinking tan people out there. There are some good-thinking brown people out there. And there are even some good-thinking black people out there. It is not a designation of consciousness. It is a consciousness that you designated by getting in the body you need at that time to learn from.
That's right. Teaching that.
If you came back at this time, you were very wise.
That's right.
Simply because you came back with a melanated body, which makes the jump over, the hyperdimensional space need, more practical. And there is no reason outside of what you want to do as to why you chose that body. It is because you chose it and deserved it at this time. There are many people who want to come back in black bodies at this time, but not able to.
Right.
Because it made the task a little bit easier because you have melanin. Now, I just said a lot. I'm just beginning. If that was rough to handle, think of the incorrigibles who, through genetic manipulation, have been put into animal bodies. Not by the will of the universal creator, but by mad scientists here that is still doing it. I have pictures of alligator people, cat people, and if you remember the ancient Egyptians from Kemet and so, even talk about Bes, the cat guard.
That's right.
Because all those creatures lived here at one time that you see under the Metrodetur, that you see in the hieroglyphics. They were not crazy. They told you what was on this planet. Anything could have been on this planet at one time or another, because it's a zoo, a dumping ground, a place for trial and error, a war zone.
That's right.
A crazy place. That's what this place is. It's insane here. I got a tape out there called Earth, where insanity is reality. This is why this place is so messed up. But the planet has paid dearly for that. And because of that, she's been granted a reprieve to go from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. She's earned more than that, I think, but at least they give her that, where she can become a heavenly planet, and anything that incarnates on her now will uplift her vibration, and she's paid dearly for that. Now, when you get that urge to clean up your body, to expand your consciousness, and I thank you for helping me to help you to do that tonight.
That's right.
To begin to change the diet, to begin to travel to someplace, or make amends with somebody, it's because it's what your soul is telling you. These are the last things you need to do to be able to ascend with the planet.
Yes.
And if you do them, and of course, what I have done by understanding some of the problems, I got tired of seeing problems. I sought solutions. I prayed for solutions. I've sacrificed much for solutions. You know, I've been poisoned for teaching this kind of thing. 2003. My wife is now dead from having been poisoned. All these things because if I was saying nothing, when you watch these people that talk to you and nothing happens to them, they're not telling you the truth, or they're telling you just the half truth. When you really start stepping on their toes, they come for you.
That's right.
Because you are now awakening souls that soon will be their governors and their gods, and they don't want an awakened God because that's what you are. The value of the human mind is interesting because human is animal mind. The value of man's mind, which is a descendant from God, is everything because you are God's unaware. And in fact, they've even turned that around and made it dog.
That's right.
And the Dogons even understood that doggone it, they were going to Canis Major and Canis Minor, from which the gods had come. That's what dogs meant. That's what doggone meant. They're going to the gods, Canis Major, Canis Minor, a very advanced star system, which in line with Sirius, that a lot of black people become incarnate on this planet. All that used to be taught, and they changed it.
That's right.
People want to know, well, what's the Great Pyramid doing there? And was it Khufu that built the pyramid? Or was it Cheops that built the pyramid? Or who built the pyramid? And where did they bury it? Huh? Pyramids that are found in Kemet were never meant to be buried anybody in. They were laboratories. They were ascension ships.
That's right.
They were orgone energy generators.
Right.
And when they worked on full, there was a heaven on earth.
That's right.
And they maintained that heaven on earth. And then they were attacked, and then their minds were attacked, and a big battle was fought around the pyramids.
That's right.
The pyramids, and the word pyremus means to go straight up. There's Greeks called them pyrimeters, pyrus, and pyremus. And then later on, pyramids.
Right.
The ancients called them mers. Mers. M-R-S, for which we get the word Mrs. Mers. And the plural of a mer was mers. Those were vehicles for the soul by which the Kabbalah could be made to go. The Ka and the Ba are the spirit and the soul, and the merge of which they merge and went travel. The spaceship of advanced people is the Ka-Ba.
That's right.
And the Merkaba is the vehicle of travel for the body and the soul. The rest of them are technical ships, which you don't need because you can go anywhere in your mind and your vehicle of life will be there. They have to go slow, but they're not worthy of the ascension to the cosmos. Did you hear me? You put in gear 1 using fossil fuel at night when you go to sleep. That's the vehicle you start up, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's still moored and tied down there with a silver cord, so you can't go anywhere. Because you don't know where you were, you don't have the vehicle of life yet, because you can't go everywhere, because you'd be dangerous having been just taught here. Until you ascend and know who you are, then you can go anywhere out of the sun, into the sun, or away from the sun, because you're universal cosmic beings during a life experience the hard way. You'll be good guys later, because you know what it's like to be a servant. You know what it's like to be ignorant and to be born in ignorance. And once you do that, you won't make that mistake again. But you learned it the hard way. That's what the Matrix was supposed to be about. And Sophie Stewart made it, and Winsky Brothers made it into a martial arts movie. That's what Avatar is about. That's what John Cameron, before that John Cameron made another good movie, The Abyss. You ever saw The Abyss 1? The man's always been trying to tell you stories about the fish guys and the people who watch over us still. They're now killing off millions of dolphins. No, not millions. Hundreds of thousands, for the dolphins are leaving you. Whoa, that day. The dolphins have always helped mankind and even man because they're very psychic and they come from a planet of dolphins, a system that has fish people. They volunteered to come here to help you, and now you're grinding them up. They have, there's a movie, there's not even a movie, there's a site on the web. I don't know if it's still up there or not. It showed Danes over in Denmark, and it showed a big bay connected to the ocean. And when you get up high enough, you can see that part of that bay is red near the sand, and the rest of it leads to the ocean. When they zoom in on it, that red is blood. As they are killing dolphins by the score, alive, cutting off their heads, and the dolphins are screaming with a high pitch, and the whole planet is shaking from that vibration as you kill them. The reason why they killed them? Not for food. It is for the rite of passage. When the Danish man becomes 11, 12 years old, they must kill a dolphin to prove manhood. Huh? And you wonder why the kingdoms here are so rough? Why they kill you and have predators here? Because you're a predator. Now you say, well, I'm not Danish. Well, what's happened over there in Rwanda? Huh? What happened in Biafra? Huh? What happened in Uganda? Huh? You're killing women, not even dolphins, cutting off their breasts because they look different to you because the white man told you to do it. Huh? Been fighting so long in Africa they don't even know why they fight. And don't get mad at the Danes, you do worse. If you said doing it to another species. Why are they doing it? I'm going to hurt you? Be hurt. Understand the truth. Don't criticize another race. You understand your race because the races are all here to do one thing. Learn. You're not on earth if you don't have to learn unless you volunteer to be a God. And if I have one, I'll never volunteer again. And I hope when I make this decision, I'll never volunteer for nothing again. Not back here. I don't ever just go to heaven. I want higher heavens. There's nothing this man can teach me. But I learned the hard way not to come back here. It's very interesting when we see things around us that are going on and we look the other way. It's interesting that when we really have our minds being stretched, we say, I get a headache, I can't think like that. Well, if you can't think like that, then when can you think? And if you get a headache from thinking, then you need to be buying all the gold, not here, but any places you can get real gold. Not fool's gold. What they use gold for now is to get bullion bars of gold, put them in a lockbox somewhere, write your certificate against it, and then you can borrow against your certificate. Gold was never meant to be bullioned, and gold is a vibrational carrier. It's a metal that when you're in your body, you vibrate faster. That's what gold was used for. When you're around gold, it can carry in a higher vibration, and being around it, you may pick up on some of that vibration. Well, now you've been given another gift, monatomic gold. Gold already so small that you could almost aspirate it and get the energy from it, and when it gets into you, it helps to raise your blood to 121 megahertz. Almost impossible to attain it, but bacteria and germs can't get over 100. So now you're germ-free. You're bacteria-free if the germs and bacteria are low in vibration and can bring you dis-ease, imbalance. That's what disease is, imbalance in your own electromagnetic field. Whether it be in the mind or body, it's the same thing, imbalance. So the gold there is there, and when it's done in the bloodstream, wherever organ or gland it goes to, it helps it to operate on a higher frequency. Well, our planet is going to a higher frequency. So if you don't do something quickly to vibrate to the higher frequency, you may be on the planet, but it will be in a different form. You'll be dead. And you might be in the heavens, but you will not be on this hell any longer. So maybe that's good. Except the hell is becoming a heaven. And if you're going to stay with it, you got to change your frequency.
Come on.
It first starts with the, what do you call this? Mind. God, you didn't say head and brain. With the mind, which will then work on the brain, which will then work on your psyche, because now you know, I like the way my body's beginning to look. I like the way I'm beginning to think. I now know that there is no limit to what I can do. There is no limit to what I can be. And the biggest secret is not what they told you. The biggest secret is your God's unaware, and they hope you never wake up to that. So they give you any kind of conventional secret, which ain't no secret at all. It's more mind control. Animals, in many cases, especially cats, but dogs too, can see into the fourth dimension. That's why you're sitting in a room, you got a cat, you got a dog, suddenly the cat makes a movement. Yeah. Cat, what's wrong with you? Cat, what do you see? What are you looking at? I don't see nothing. Get over. The cat sees in the fourth dimension. You have not been able to see in the fourth dimension prior to this time. Now many of you are seeing shadow people out the corner of your eyes. Many of you are seeing figures that seem to move. Many of you are seeing things that seem to be up there again, because now you're looking into the fourth dimension, because you're becoming fourth dimensional vibratory units. That's why now when the cat looks over there and you look, you might even see something that the cat saw before you did. Because the cat not only had 9 lives, the cat was a fourth dimensional creature, and that's when the eyes narrow, if you notice them, or they get very big. They're closing and opening the euphoric diaphragm, seeing from 12 different dimensions. You can't even see on 6. But now you and your cat will be one. Bess will be back. Bess is the goddess of cats that came from the fourth dimension. Now you'll be up there being the master of cats, and so on and going on that line. Everything is becoming so beautiful. It is nothing to fear, because if you have a soul, you can't die. You just transcend for another life experience. This wasn't our hope, since you went through all this hell being born here. Let's make it a good ascension. Let's really do something with this time, right? Let's not just get back to a physical body. Let's become the gods we're supposed to be. Not just wreaking vengeance on the Dracons, but telling the Dracons now, there is in a higher heaven people who understand you. Now get out of life. You're feared, you're envied, and that's why they'll keep you as dumbed down, comatose, brainwashed, inoculated, vaccinated, and encrypted as they can, because they don't want you to ascend, or if so, they want you to be a dumb god with a dumb bowl, doing dumb things, so therefore they can still control the gods. You are the gods. You're not the creator, you are the gods. And collective gods can think into existence anything they want.
That's right.
When I tell people concentrated thought is your answer, they shake their head and say, well, Blair is esoteric. Blair's out there again. Well, some things he said was good. That is the biggest truth that you don't want to face. Thoughts are things.
Yes.
And as your planet ascends, you're in the theta universe. You're on a planet that thoughts will do everything. So how can you make the grade if you don't know the power of your thought?
That's right.
People are dying and you think about them and you save them. You go to the hospital and they pull your energy by your thought. Say, child, I'm so glad you came to save you. Thoughts are things. If we would concentrate our thoughts on one person for one magnetic month, that whole person, especially if he or she is controlling other people, would change. You can kill people with thoughts. You can bring life into people with thoughts. Animals will follow your thoughts. Anything that has feelings will follow your thoughts. This is the way you can move the animal kingdom. You can have the insect kingdom go to battle for you if you only knew the power of concentrated thought.
That's right.
They have ants that have already attacked the space platform. Did you know that? And they secreted venom that melted metal, acids. Nothing is impossible. For if you create it, it exists. And your birthright for creation here is that you came in a physical body, you just forgot the non-physical body that you got. And now you think you are powerless. You are. Unless you become powerful, full of power, because you forgot what you had, and they made you go into forgetfulness time. And I'm going to wind it up with this one. The blank in forgetfulness is that they disconnected the right brain from the left brain and put the animal brain at the top of your spine.
That's right.
And so now any thought that you hold must first come through the animal brain, which does four things right or wrong: fight, feed, flee, and fornicate. Now, let me keep it nice, unless you want to substitute the fornicate. Fight, feed, flee, and fornicate. And that's what soldiers do. That's what most people do. They're either fighting, running from something, running to something, doing it, because it's not love, just doing it for doing it, and the whole bit. That is what animals do. That is the snake brain. That is the animal brain, which they put at the top of our spine. That's 32 degrees of consciousness. And before we could ascend to the 33rd degree, you had to go through the animal brain. Most of us failed, and we start all over again. If you can rise again as a Christ figure, if you can ascend in consciousness and roll away the stone that blocks you from ascension, you can come forth to be anything you want as a God on earth. You don't have to call anybody else but the Creator. In closing, the ascension is when you raise the kundalini, the viscous fluid that produces either babies or energy. It's the same thing you use in sex. And you send it to the kundalini pocket. It comes up as a fluid and builds up. Each 28 days that you fast on sex or whatever. When it gets to the 16th vertebra, it changes to a gas. That gas then goes up to the top of the spine, unless the serpents take it away. The serpents are the entwined pneumogastric nerve, Ida Pingala. That's where the word Ida comes from. Pingala we don't use anymore. Those are two robbers of energy, which take the energy before it can be set upward, back down the spine, makes you have the sexual urge, and you dissipate it. You can have sex too, but it must be with a mate that helps you ascend. It must be with energy that you have to give and not recreate. How can you procreate if you can't recreate? Because that's why you're killing yourself by thinking you're fulfilling your desires, which keeps you from being a god or a goddess. But once you get enough, it pushes away that stone, illuminates you, all that flood comes in. The other chakras, which are 9th, 10th, and 11th, going out into space, where you can travel anytime you go to sleep. Now you can do it while you're on Earth and make anything you want. That's how easy it is to become a god. But we are still tempted. Temptation, the serpent in the garden, and now you better understand what they're trying to tell you as you misinterpreted what they did say. It is metaphysical, not physical. I thank you for bearing with me. I thank this beautiful brother here who's always putting yourself out there on the line. I think thank you. You love to get hit, huh?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
I thank Brother Charles Woods. all of you for coming out, because it was Saturday night. You could have been procreating, recreating, and goodness gracious. But you're told to do that later. So whatever you do later, do this with conscience. Thank you so much for coming out. Creator bless us all. Amen.
Let's give Dr. Black, show him some black love, show him some people love, some Calvary City love. I know y'all can do better than that, especially all the cool people sitting on the front row right here. I know y'all can do better than that for Dr. Black. Thank you. Sante. And what we're going to do now is we're going to have a question and answer. We'll attempt to pass you the microphone if you can come up front so that we can get your question on the DVD. And if you don't want to be on the DVD, don't come up and ask your question. You have to ask her afterwards. But Dr. Blair will still be here for a few moments. Afterwards, we'll have copies of course, many of the CDs and DVDs and the diodes that are here as well, and our vendors are here. But we're going to take a few questions and answers before we wrap up. If you want to drop a donation in the basket or the right bowl on the table, some of you have to leave. I'm not going to do a long rally. All I'm going to do is we're doing question and answer. If you have a love offering or a gift that you want to drop in the basket for Dr. Blair. Of course, you know he worked hard up at the medicine in Chicago, took a lot, put up his own money to get on a plane and fly here to Baltimore, showing you the kind of love and dedication he has for us as a people, but we want to return that. He's going to be in town over the next couple of days. If you have an organization and you want to host Dr. Blair for a workshop, then see Dr. Blair after the, of course, presentation tonight. But we're inviting him to be with us tomorrow at Terra Cafe at 25th and St. Paul to be a part of our brunch. So if you want to meet and greet Dr. Blair tomorrow, we'll be there tomorrow from 11 to 2 with some other brothers and sisters as well. But now what we're going to do is we're going to pass this basket, whatever you have. I'm not going to rally, ask who got the first 100, who got the first 500, whatever you desire from your heart after hearing this kind of message tonight. But you can just drop it in the basket and pass it on to the next brother and sister down the road, and then we'll pass it to the next row as we're doing our question and answer. So whatever you have, as we show an attitude of gratitude to drop in the basket for Dr. Blair, put it in the bowl. If you don't want anybody to see what you drop it in the basket. And I know we're in Baltimore, but we hold back on each other sometimes. But then we wonder why we don't have the things that we desire because of the will and the power of thought. Is that right, Doc?
You said it.
Yeah, so we'll start with our brother here. If you have a question, you can come right up front, but we'll start with Brother Ron right here.
Dr. Blair, my question is about Yahshua, or known to most people as Jesus. Did Yahshua attend the school of the mysteries in Egypt?
That's a heck of a question to ask me, I'll tell you. I'm an ex-Baptist minister. You didn't know that, did you? An ex-Baptist minister. I'm not a hypocrite. And I thought I knew, and I visited their schools, and then I began to question the very things I questioned in seminary were the very things that they wouldn't answer, and I'm not a hypocrite, and I found out that what they told me was a lie. And studying history and so like that, so I simply say this again. I'll give you the 3 keys to answer that yourself. One is the Council of Nicene in Bethania 325 AD with King Constantine and the Bishop Eusebius. Another is what is called Apollonius of Tyana. And the last one again is the fall of a church which is on its way out, being plagued now with homosexuality and a cathedral of falseness with gods that are black that you don't even see. With that one in mind, if you will look up those 3 dates, you can answer yourself. The person you're looking for is called Apollonius, the Palatine Apollo. Dedicated the book of Revelations and recorded it while on the island of Patmos, and is not written by St. John the Revelator. It was written by Apollonius of Tyana. That's what holds that whole book together after they took 196 books and prefaces out of it. So all I can say on it, I give you all the keys to the kingdom. And the thing is, do you want to go there?
All right, thank you.
Dr. Blair, can you explain somewhat to us as far as what the astronauts actually see when they get in the space shuttle and go out in outer space? Are they able to see the sun? What is it that they see when they are out in outer space?
Oh, brother. I like your beard too, man. Keep working out. You know, it's interesting, that whole thing about the astronauts and cosmonauts. Boy, we could stay here all night long with that one. Oh, boy. Well, first of all, let's kind of look at some of the things you have said. The Chinese recently went out in space. And I believe them and what they say more than I believe NASA. Never a straight answer. They went out there and they said when their ship took photographs of Venus and Earth, you couldn't tell one from the other. That our cloud layer around Earth now, with all these chemtrails they've been doing for 20 years, it's just like a cloud on it, just like Venus. And then I understood that Venus has 7 dome cities where it's great kind of state. So they're making this planet just like that other planet was. Why didn't they tell you that? Now, here's another thing. They say that the sun is very hot. They say that the sun is very bright. I say metaphysics says the sun is not hot nor bright. He lost it again. There he goes. Every time I'm going to go with that man, he comes and says something crazy. Let's see how crazy this is. When the cosmonauts from Russia went out there, when the astronauts from the United States went out there, they supposedly said that when they got out there, they couldn't find the sun. That they could find Epsilon Booty, Alpha Centauri, suns out there, and they got lost in space because they didn't know where the sun was. They got out there, they couldn't see it. It was no longer bright. What else did they say? They said the coldness of outer space. So when you get off from Earth, where the sun is, it's going to burn you up. It's cold. And they not only can't see the sun, but it's cold in space. What else do they say? They say that it's summertime and it's wintertime. Did you know that when they say it's summertime, we're far away from the sun? And when it's wintertime, we're close to the sun? Huh? They call one aphelion, which is the furthest point away, perihelion, the closest proximity to. So they go on to double talk, they ask the physicist and say, it's the angular inclination of the sun rays, and they no. No. The sun's not hot, the sun's not bright. It is a chakra center which we're just coming into resonance for, and it will become brighter now because we now have 3 suns. If the Creator says 4, we'll get 5 suns. The sun is simply a portal of energy which is needed on a planet that is still learning to incubate it. You're in a womb. And the coldness is because magnetism feels cold and heat doesn't have there. And if one other thing, if you think all that sounds crazy, they measure everything in physical science against the speed of light, which is 186,000 miles a second. Now, cop this one. The speed of light is the fastest known register by which physics and physicists now speak. Yet, they'll say that the sun burns with a hydrogen-helium conversion. Those are elements, right?
That's right.
Now, they say that a solar flare will swoosh out 300,000 miles in a second of time. Almost incalculable. Whoosh, it comes out. So what did they just say? They just said that an element can travel faster than light in their physics. That's why they need metaphysics, because they don't know what they're talking about.
All right, let's take this next question. Anybody else has a question, please come to the front before we wrap up.
Doctor, I'd like to ask you, when it comes to silver, does silver have megahertz, like you were saying, gold? It's number 1 question. Number 2, a couple days ago in the Baltimore Sun newspaper, there was an astrophysicist. And I wanted to bring the article, but I forgot to bring it. And he said that aliens are out there and the government knows about it, but they won't really say anything about it. I just want to know, did you hear about that article? 3rd question and last, the Council of Nicaea. I knew one person that went to the Vatican, I forgot his name right now, it passes me, to find out about the Council of Nicaea. How can we find out truly, if possible, that we could go into those archives to find out about that Council of Nicaea? Thank you.
All right, thank you, brother. Good question. I hope we get some of the sisters too before you answer that. Some of the sisters, we had all brothers ask questions. We got to balance it. Is that right, Doc? Huh? We got to have the woman and the woman, right? All right, so come on up, sisters, if you would. Those that got questions, don't be scared. All right, Doc.
Well, I hate when people, no, I'm sorry, it works. No, I wish that people would not give me 3 in 1, because then I got to remember all 3. And this poor brain's getting older and older, you know what I'm
One was
saying?
about silver. The other one was the Council of Nicaea. First one was silver.
Silver has a vibration that is less than gold. Why go with silver if you can go with gold? That's why they call silver threads amongst the gold. They thought you talked about hair color, which is very interesting. And silver has a vibrational rate. I don't even know what silver registers on the monatomic scale. But I'd rather go with gold than that. Now, there's some things that silver can work better in, because if your vibrations are too low, anything that boosts them up will work for you. But once you get used to the gold standard, silver doesn't work as well. That's why we have a product now, it doesn't even have a name. It's called Q528. It's on our website. It has 82 monatomic minerals. It does not have gold. Since we are masters of gold at the Meta Center, then we can add that missing element. When you take that, now you're getting the food of the gods, which is minerals, which give you life and energy, not fiber, which gives you bulk. When you can get the minerals up correctly, not only are you in infinity with the mineral kingdom, but now you can begin to make better grades of melanin, because melanin is nothing but chlorophyll, and all plants need minerals. Human hemoglobin is supported by chlorophyll, which has 1 magnesium molecule difference only. So going back to that, I hope to give you even a deeper answer than what you asked. And the second thing about was Council of Nicaea.
Council of Nicaea.
Yeah, well, I already answered that one. And the point is, again, do you believe it or not? And the catch is, on that one, not only did the Council of Nicaea originate the Christian religion, but it's been fought over for the longest. There were close to 33 million people killed during the Spanish Inquisition, and Cortez coming over here to Mexico, killing another one, killing all the Mexicans, which used to worship black people, and Extilton and Crescicado and all these kind of things. All these things have been showing you that religion has caused more wars and strife on this planet than famine and foods. And yet we still say, my religion is the best. All religions are false. Because anything that stands between you and the Creator and the temple of God that you were born into, when you're part of the Creator every night, and tells you to go for them and have to tithe them, is a fooling of you and a desertion of you, and they will pay for it. Watch the fall of religion in the last 2 years. And there'll be another war. It will be a religious war, because the truth has got to come out. Didn't want to go that deep, but I had to leave it like it was.
Dr. Blair, yesterday I received an email from a professor in Baltimore, actually a judge in Baltimore, where he's showing where a lot of our athletes and entertainers and sportsmen, so-called black scholars, are now marrying white women. Please tell me, if you know, what would be our role, the black woman's role? I see us as walking independent of the black man, and I don't want that. But I'm seeing that the black men are discarding us. So I want to know, what's our role? How do we handle this?
Okay, if I understand your question, and make sure I tell you, is why is the black man and woman being separated?
Yeah.
Or is that really what it comes down to? Because they make black babies.
That's right. That does. How this is.
As I told you, I didn't say that any race was superior or inferior. I said at this time, melanin is an adaptogen, and they are now being born to people on Earth crystals.
Right.
They're called crystal children. They are the old souls. We had the indigos to come through. They were your ancestors, which everybody's ashamed to.
That's right.
Okay, I don't want to step there, because I know I step on some more than melanin and all. I can step on everybody, but it's not stepping on. I want truth. I'm tired of lies. I'm tired of being lied to. So in that case, again, we're finding now that these souls coming in now don't even need 9 months. Most souls here start off in the first gestation period, the first trimester. They come out as little tadpoles and stuff. That's because they once were tadpoles, those souls. So all that is done in the womb. When they're born to look like what they should be at this dispensation. But they go through that stage. There are some souls that don't go through that stage anymore because they didn't come from tadpoles. They came as whole men, consciousness, through parthenogenesis at one time again. We now find out that the crystals coming in here now, they're born with eyes open. They're born with an ectus erect. They're communicating in the womb with animals. They're communicating with their mothers and fathers, and mothers first if they're there. They know what they're doing here, and they didn't come up here to be sacrificed with shots. And in many cases, if you go to the hospital, they give them those daggone shots, so you lose your child because you made it a kid by being born in the hospital where they give them 7 shots in the first place. And why would they give them a hepatitis C shot? For promiscuous heterosexuals at birth? Come on. If we understand that at this time, an awakened black man and an awakened black woman can mate and bring in higher consciousness. A dumb, asleep person brings in nothing because they're only as good as the thoughts that they hold in their mind. And conception means to conceive mentally. Nothing about conceiving physically. You first conceive mentally, and that's why they used to teach. The child would say, I see a child around you, girl. I see a child around you, honey. That's because they could see on the energy plane, and hovering around you are angels. But until you are fit to birth angels, you're going to get devils and everything else that comes through. And then the diet that you have, drinking milk from a cow and then going to feed you, don't start. Don't start. It is very important to mate correctly. Mating correctly regenerates. Mating incorrectly takes away. That's why one person is tired after the sex act, and one goes to sleep, the other is awake because they drained each other, or they drained one from the other. If it's done correctly, it's revitalizing, it's habilitating rather than debilitating, and it's a wonderful thing. If done for fun and done for nothing in profit, you're throwing away the life force, and then the dragons come closer to grabbing your body. Sorry about it, that's the way I see it. Thank you.
All right.
You got a question? All right, the cameraman got a question. Hey, let's give it over back in.
Thank you. Once again, thank you for coming to Baltimore. I appreciate everything in the lecture. I'm familiar with the HARP program and the antennas in Alaska and the way they're manipulating the weather here in the U.S. I was wondering if you can elaborate and tell how that program and how what they're doing affects weather outside of the country. Because first part of this year, we've had an enormous amount. I can't even count how many earthquakes we've had across the globe. So if you can maybe give some information or insight on how that program and what they're doing can affect weather patterns outside of the globe. Like in Haiti, we have earthquakes everywhere, and you said death is on its way, and I'm seeing how they're doing it in abundance. So you can just share some information on that.
Question.
Haiti, Brazil, which just had mudslides, and over 1,000 people dead there. China,
That's right.
Angkor, Gulf, second time, because there never was a hurricane that hit New Orleans in the first place.
That's right.
9th Street Bridge was blown up as they blew it up in 27, chaining all black men to this wall, and they all drowned. They did it in 32, and they did it again with the 9th Street Bridge there. Had nothing to do with that. The hurricane was headed to Alabama, where they got all kind of funny things down, including money. And they weren't having that there, so they diverted the hurricane through the use of pyramid powers. The dig was the best weather-modified machine right now by Earth people is in Russia, because they shape theirs like a pyramid. Pyramid power is powerful. It pulls down energy. As long as the apex to the base and 4 sides are equal to it. When you get it laterally like this, you can make mistakes. They're now perfecting it. Russia's no better than the United States. The United States no better than Russia. They're both trying to occupy the minds and souls of people and take over this planet. Okay? So whether it's called HARP, whether it's called Isaacat, whether it's called Elata, it's still the same kind of thing. Using weather modification to control people, because as I said at the beginning, once you can do that, your futures, your commodity, you're going to broke yourself. If you know that you can now get a machine to make weather, and you make a drought, you know it's no rest investing in HARP and in corn or anything else, because it's not going to come up. So when you control the weather, you control people's lives. These storms that are coming up now, you've got in Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, all of these things as we speak are experiencing tornadoes. It's not going to stop. It's going to get worse because they're now holding back a planet that said, let me go, let my people go, but not again Messiah. It is letting the consciousness of people go. Let this planet progress. If you remember, that's where horrible things were done. In Alabama, in Mississippi, in Kentucky, where they lynched and burned. You get away with nothing on this planet.